Hey guys, Johnny coming to you with yet another Figma review. Here I have for you today from the amazing Spider-Man himself. So now let's jump in and have a closer look at his packaging. Packaging-wise, Spidey comes in a very nicely detailed Figma windowed style box, of course with his own unique flair, as you guys can see, for the webbing and the spider on the plastic here. Of course, we have the Figma logo, we have Spider-Man, the amazing Spider-Man. He's number 199 in the Figma line, and of course on the sides at the top, like always, we have images of Figma and the Spider-Man himself. Continuing on the back, we have images of Spider-Man in some of his crazy poses with his accessories. At the bottom here we have warning and credits. Inside there's this kind of a cardboard display that you can use if you wish with the Spider-Man webbing. Inside this box you get a clamshell packaging of Spider-Man himself with all of his accessories. At the bottom here we have a stand, we have instructions. So now let's jump right in and have a closer look at the figure himself. So here we have Spider-Man right out of the packaging, and as you guys can clearly see here, he looks fantastic. So now let's jump in and have a closer look at all of his details. Something I especially love about this figure is, of course, the body sculpt all around. They did a fantastic job capturing the likeness of a kind of more petite, smaller framed character compared to Figma Thor here. I think he's in great scale. He has smaller shoulders, smaller chest, just overall a more petite figure, which I love. An interesting thing they decided to do is paint him in a kind of metallic shiny finish, which I think is interesting. I would have preferred a matte, I believe, but then the shininess does really make him stand out and glow, which is very nice. I like that. It also really enhances all the little detailing on his suit itself, with all the little dots going all the way around, all the webbing on the upper part of his body, and just the overall head sculpt. It really defines all that detailing and all that molding, which I like. You actually can really see it really well with all that shininess going on. Of course, we have his web shooters on his wrist. We have the spider on his chest and back. Something I also really like is that they decided to put his eyes in kind of translucent plastic, which really is great when reflecting in the sun. It really makes his eyes pop. I love that. Something I don't like though about the paint is that they didn't decide to paint the joints in his hands and the back of his legs, which make it really stand out even more so, because it is huge, and now that it's not painted and it's painted in a darker color than the actual suit itself, it really stands out, which I am not a huge fan of. Articulation wise, Spider-Man is brilliant with great rotation in the head. He can look down really well and look up really well. That's in the head and the neck, so those both really help you do all these crazy looking head stances and stuff like that. He has 360 in the hands or the arms. He has great elbow joint, then that can rotate there too, and we have the wrist joints. He has a decent ab crunch, and that rotates as well. It has a pretty decent swivel at the waist as well, and that kind of crunches as well. We have movement in the leg. We have a thigh cut. We have really great articulation with the knees, and that's what Spider-Man does need. But the downside to that is, of course, that huge joint that bulbs out, that kind of looks like a rollerblade. And of course we have the feet and toe articulation, which is fantastic. So articulation wise, he is overall the best articulation on a figure I have ever seen to date. He's great. Height wise, standing next to some of his Marvel superhero friends, Figma Spider-Man here stands tall at slightly over 5.5 inches. Figma Thor here stands 6.5, along with Johnny Storm and Reed Richards, who also stands 6.5. Sue Storm here stands slightly over 5.5, just like Spider-Man, but ever so slightly taller than him. And the thing here at the back, or Ben Grimm, stands tall at 7.5 inches. I wanted to show you guys and compare that Figma or import figures themselves have a slightly smaller scale than kind of US releases, as you guys can see with the Fantastic Four. If I had my way, Spider-Man and Thor would be slightly taller. So now let's jump in and have a closer look at all of Spider-Man's accessories. Accessories wise, Spider-Man comes with a decent range of things. As you guys can see here, he's a nice variety of hands, starting with his clenched fist that he's posing for us back there. We have some hands that can grab or hold something. Unfortunately, he doesn't have anything to grab or hold in his pack. We have his web shooter hands, of course, and we have open palms. He has this special hands that is meant to hold his cell phone, and that can be removed out of the hand itself. But other than that, you can't really do anything with this hand. Maybe it can be used for a posing hand or something, but it's mainly used for his cell phone. As you guys can see, we also have a backpack that you can put on his back. It's kind of made out of this rubbery material. It's nicely detailed with all the straps and zippers painted on. There's no part that you can undo to put on his back a little easier, so you kind of have to smush it there. I know people have been removing his hand or arm to put on the backpack, but it doesn't say in the instructions to do that, so I'm not sure if that's the right way to do it. And of course he comes with webs, and I think this is the most disappointing part of his accessories. He comes with these 2 itty bitty webs, nothing special. They look pretty much identical. They're nice translucent plastic with a nice frosting at the tip, but other than that it's nothing special. It's very short, as you guys can see. This one's slightly taller while this one's slightly shorter, but other than that they're very small. I really wish that he came with a really big one that actually makes a spider web itself at the tip. That would have been awesome. I think this would have been a nice place to give him an extra head as well, maybe an unmasked head, Peter Parker's head himself. That would have been nice since his head does pop off really easily. I guess that would have been easy to swap in and out, but unfortunately that is not the case. We come with your typical Figma stand with that addition of that tip to get more cool poses out of him, and of course we come with your typical Figma syllable bag. So now let's gear Spider-Man up. So here we have Spider-Man's first look with his backpack on his back and his cell phone in his hand. Something I found especially interesting is that the backpack itself has a hole in it that you can plug the stand in, which is really nice. That gives it a nice kind of gravity look where the backpack is raised higher than the figure itself. Of course, if you're flying through the air, the backpack won't be sticking to your back like how you would normally have it. And so I found that really cool. You obviously also have a hole in the back of Spider-Man himself if you do want to plug that in. But I did find that the additional piece was really tough to get into the backpack itself, so I took that off and decided to just use the actual stand piece. The backpack, as you guys saw, I put it easily on his back, just like how you would do in real life. You just move the hands in accordance to how you would move your actual hands. So you don't have to pop out the actual arms like I have seen other people do online. You just need to slip it on like you normally do in real life. The cell phone itself is a decent accessory. I like how it looks, but it does tend to fall out of his hands quite easily in certain poses. So you can't have him posing crazily with the cell phone in his hand. Now on to the second look. So here we have Spider-Man's second look with his web shooting out of his hands, and I find this look to be fantastic. I love the overall effect. I do wish the webs were a bit longer again, but it was nicely easily inserted. As you guys saw, you just put it on the handpiece itself and then you put the handpiece in. You can align it to the web shooters. It has a nice rigid molding where it does curve around the hand itself, and the hand still has a tiny bit of motion, so you can kind of pull it down a little, pull it up a little. It's nicely done. It blends in really well. I love it. Overall, I am very happy with this Spider-Man figure. He has awesome aesthetics and brilliant articulation. I think that is very much the highlight of this figure. He can do any and every Spider-Man pose that I can think of. The downside though is that he does have a lack of accessories, which is kind of a missed opportunity. But other than that, I am still very happy with this figure. I highly recommend him for any Spider-Man fan or superhero fan in general. And until next time, I will see you guys soon. Bye.